Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is David and this is my first live stream on this channel where I'll be talking more about web accessibility. So if you can hear me, you can see me, please let me know in the comments so that I know everything is good. So this channel will mostly be focused on web accessibility and accessibility in general. I will try to, whenever I learn anything new about accessibility or I test any new plugin, page builder, or any tool, any physical tool that is related to accessibility, they will all be dropped in here. So this is just kind of like my own personal diary where I just explore different things that relate to accessibility. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and we'll try to answer the questions. I'm just going to make sure that everything is working. So I'll just look at it on my phone and I can proceed from there. So let's see. If I go over to my page, make sure yes. So I believe we are live. The questions? Okay. All right. So today's video will be me exploring how I used NVDA in my day-to-day testing and my day-to-day life. So I'll just be showing you basically my workflow with NVDA screen reader. If you don't know, NVDA screen reader is a free screen reader. It is not paid. Anybody can get it, and it is only for Windows. If you're on a Mac, then a Mac comes inbuilt with VoiceOver. If you are on an Android device, there is an inbuilt screen reader called TalkBack that works for Android. So depending on what device you use, most of them come with some inbuilt screen readers. Windows comes inbuilt with Narrator, but I don't really like using Narrator. I prefer to use NVDA, which is open source and has a bit more, it's better basically. So that's why I use NVDA. But for the most part, I think we'll get to see some statistics. I'll try to open up some statistics about all of these screen reader usage, and you can now get to see it for yourself. So let's see. Let me see if I can pull it up. So here we have the WebAIM screen reader user survey, just to get you like involved and to understand that lots of people use screen readers. So let's see. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we can see that it gives you a detailed report on people, how they use screen readers. Most people that use screen readers are from North America. Then it tells you by region, by age. So this just goes to show that it is wide range. So you don't think that it's only for the older people. So whether, as you can see, it's even people between the ages of 21 and 40 are the ones who tend to use the screen readers more compared to the older people. So you can see how it is that people need assistive technology. Don't just think that, oh no, nobody uses assistive technology. That's not true. Lots of people use it. Both people who are visually impaired and people who are not. The screen readers can help both people. So we'll do a test. And the other thing I wanted to just point out was that if you look at, based on the usage, I think, is it called? Yeah. On the usage for the, let me see, screen reader usage, if I can find it. So this is screen reader satisfaction. Okay, screen readers. Screen readers that are commonly used. This was in 2024. You see that NVDA is one of the most popular screen readers used in 2024, followed by JAWS, then VoiceOver. And I think the reason is that JAWS, like Windows in general, most applications work best with Windows. So that's why I think that there is a wider usage for Windows-based screen readers compared to the Mac-based screen readers, especially in the working place. Most working place will tell you to use JAWS, But then for everyday use, most people tend to use either NVDA or VoiceOver for their daily use, because JAWS is a premium version. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. If you want to download NVDA, I think one of the big limitations that NVDA has is that they have the so NVDA has that unfortunate feature that their name is very closely related to NVIDIA. So if you try to search on Google for NVDA, what tends to come up is NVIDIA instead of NVDA. So sometimes it can be hard to access. So I'll leave a link to where you can download NVDA in the comments and in the description as well. So you can always go ahead and see. But yeah, let me go ahead and switch back. So you see NVDA, you go to nvaccess.org and then head over to downloads. Then you can go ahead and donate if you feel like donating, or if you don't want to donate, you can just choose skip donation and then click on download, and it will give you access to NVDA. You just install it on your Windows computer if you are a Windows user, and that's it. So for today's video, we'll be mostly doing some testing. So I'll be testing out NVDA's, how the screen reader reacts. So I'll show you what are my settings, then we'll test it out together. Okay, so once you have NVDA installed, the shortcut key to open NVDA is Control Alt and then the N key. So Control plus Alt plus N. And that opens up NVDA. Then at the bottom of your screen, within the access panel, you'll be able to see the NVDA settings. Unfortunately, it's not showing on my screen, so I apologize for that. But if you get to the settings, you can quickly go to the preferences if you want. So I'll just go to preferences and settings now. And yeah, so let me go ahead and show you my settings. So for my settings, what I like to do is under the general, I have
general property page. NVDA language requires restart combo box user default collapsed alt plus L.
The user language is just the default, which is English in my case. Then what else? The things I like to set up are under the vision
Categories list alt plus C.
I like to
5 of 17.
choose enable highlighting. So that just basically says whatever is highlighted on the screen will have a focus box on it. So whether the developer of the browser or whoever is developing the website remembers to add a focus outline, it doesn't matter, because the screen reader will automatically add a focus outline for me. And yeah, that's the main setting I like to set up. Then you can go under the speech and you can choose the rate of your speech. At the moment it's set to 100%. Maybe I should set it to 50 or something, so that it's easier for people to listen to. And then yeah, you can just go ahead and apply. So yeah, I've downloaded the NVDA, and now there are multiple ways to access your screen usage. So let me go ahead and show you the keyboard shortcuts.
What would you like to do?
I've closed NVDA for now. You can close it by pressing the insert key and Q. So insert and Q will close NVDA. But let me go ahead and open the cheat sheet that you can use. I'll leave a link to it in the description as well as the comments. So the cheat sheet from the Q University, they give you a cheat sheet of some of the things you can do with NVDA screen reader. So that's the keyboard shortcuts, and the basic ones are to turn on or off is Control plus Alt plus N. And then if you want to switch it off, so to switch it on, Control plus Alt plus N. To switch it off is Insert plus Q. whenever it is reading a long text and you want to stop the reading, you just press the control key. Because I know it can be overwhelming when you start listening to the screen reader and you're not a screen reader user by default. You might get overwhelmed with all of the announcement that comes up with the screen reader. But if you ever want to stop it, all you just do is press the control key and it will stop the whatever it's reading. Then if you want it to read continuously from top to bottom, from where you've highlighted, you just press the insert key and the down arrow key, and you start reading everything from that portion downward. But if you want to just read sentence by sentence, then you can just use the down arrow key to be reading it sentence by sentence, or at least item by item. The default one for focusable elements is the tab key. If you want to move between focusable elements, that's the tab key. And yeah, there are other keys you can use. And the cheat sheet is just gives you a quick access. So for example, let's use an example of a website. Let's say this page builder accessibility testing website. The first thing I would do is, if I was navigating the page, what I'll first do is turn on my screen reader. So Control plus Alt plus N. And now my screen reader is turned on. Then I would try to make sure that I am on the browser. So I can press the Alt plus Tab. So now I know I am on the site. Now I can press Control Home to make sure I am at the start of the page, so that I'm not on the wrong part of the page. So I'll press Control Home. Okay, so that means on this website, the first thing on the page of this website is their accessibility checker testing tool. So from there, what I tend to do, so different people have different ways that they access the site. What I tend to do is I would just basically listen to the landmarks. Most people don't do that, because from the survey, most people navigate by headings. But for me, I just like to see, okay, what are the landmarks that have been put into the website? So to navigate by landmark, all you have to do is press the D key and it will tell you the landmark. So I'll first press Shift D to make sure I am on the first landmark. So I press Shift D. So now I know that there is no previous landmark. Then I want to start going through all of the landmarks. I just keep pressing the D key. So D. So I know that, okay, there is a banner landmark, means that there is a heading. Then if I press the D again, so there is a banner landmark, which means there's a header section. There is a main landmark, which is the main section. If I press the D key again, okay, so that means there is an aside or a complementary landmark that is complementing whatever is the main portion of the page. So it's like a separate thing that is not really directly involved in the page. So I'll press the D key again. So I now know that, okay, there are only 3 landmarks on this page. Typically, the main part of the website is the main landmark. So that's the part that most people will quickly want to get get information from your website. So that is something you just need to know, that is always the main landmark. That is the one that people access. So you can now press the Shift D to go back to the main landmark. So Shift D. Okay, so I know I'm in the main landmark, main site, home, and then I'm on the heading level 1. So that is the first way people navigate websites, is by landmark regions. The second way is by heading levels. So there are 2 ways you can go by heading levels. The first one is, if you don't really care about the order of the heading level, you just want to keep going by headings in order of how they are placed on the page, you can just press the H key. So I'll press Shift H to make sure there is no heading before. I'll press Shift H. So there is no previous heading. Now I can start going, pressing the H key. So H, or the H key. So that means there is no previous heading, no next heading. If I press the number 5 key, okay, that doesn't work here, but yeah, that now tells me, okay, there is no other heading level apart from the one that I'm currently on. So Okay, that means the website doesn't really have much heading structure, so you can't really understand the website based on heading because there is only one heading on the page. So then now I know that, okay, I've seen the landmarks, I've seen the heading structure to know the structure of the headings on the page. The next thing I can now do is I will either start using the arrow keys to navigate, to just basically read the entire website if I know that the website is quite short, or I can now jump exactly to where I want to go. So if you want to read the entire website, like I said, press Control Home. It will take you to the start of the website. Control Home. So now I know I'm on the start of the website. To read the entire website, I can just press Control and then I'll press the Insert key and then the down arrow key. So the Insert, in my case, I've modified the key to become the caps lock key. So I'll press the caps lock and the down arrow key. So if I want to stop, I press the Control. So once you press the Control key, it stops your navigation. So it just stops reading wherever you press the Control key. So whenever you are overwhelmed by the announcement and you want to stop announcing, just press the Control key and it will stop. So today, the two things I want to test out basically are, let me first exit NVDA. So I press the Insert key and the Q key to close NVDA. So that's how a quick way to close NVDA. So now let me switch over. So what I'll be testing out today basically is I want to test out how because they were based on a kind of a back and forth discussion I had recently talking about how to make accessible tabs. So that has gotten me interested in exploring how a screen reader user basically gets the information from tabs and accordions. So we'll take a look at tabs and accordions, look at about 2 ways that people create accordions. We'll test it out with NVDA first. Today will be about NVDA. In a future video, we will look at other ones like maybe VoiceOver or any other screen reader. But today is about NVDA. So I'll look at how an NVDA user might access that accordion and what kind of information they will get, and if there is a possibility that they will lose information based on their interaction with the websites. Because the one thing you must remember is that a lot of screen reader users are non-visual. So there is a tendency that if you don't mark up your code properly, that the screen reader user will think they're accessing every content on your website, but they are missing out on a lot of content because you didn't mark it up in a way that the screen reader user should understand, or they'll be getting too much information that they don't even need. So that is the possibilities that could happen. So yeah. Okay, so now let's see. We'll now test out with I'll test out maybe Cadence theme. So let me go ahead and switch back. So I'll be testing out the Cadence theme based on the accessibility insights, because when the report shows that Cadence theme scored 100% accessibility, so meaning that they did quite well in accessibility, and I believe that they did quite well. So the one thing I want to test out is the accordions and the tabs. There are 2 ways people tend to create accordions nowadays. The standard way, using regular buttons, headings, and the sections or like paragraphs, or using the details and summary tag. So we test out both ways. We'll see some benefits and some limitations with both methods in today's video. So let me go ahead and click on components. And now, okay, we have our accordion in the Cadence components. So we'll test Cadence, and then I will test maybe Buildarius, something like that. I think I have something about Buildarius. So I will test Cadence and Buildarius and see how both of them fare in terms of those accordion patterns. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate our screen reader. So I'll press Ctrl Alt N. So now I have my screen reader on. The next thing I'll do is I'm hoping that it is being sounding to the users. I have not tested it. Okay, let me just make sure.
Titled window. Properties for desktop audio dialog device. Properties for desktop audio dialog device.
So let me make sure everything is working. I hope it's working. So now I am going to press the Alt and Tab to make sure I'm on the right tab.
Live start social NVDA column components cadence. Google Chrome row 1 column 1 of 8.
Okay.
Components cadence. Google Chrome window.
Okay,
Components
so now
cadence document.
I'm on the components cadence Chrome browser. I'm on the right browser. So I'll press Ctrl plus Home.
Button opens dialog accessibility checker tools.
So I know, okay, now I'm on the accessibility checker tool, which is basically at the head of the website. So now I can start navigating. So the way I always like to navigate is first I'll check the landmark regions. But in this case, for not doing that, what we're focusing on is the accordion. So I'll quickly switch to the H1 heading. Then from there, I can start testing out the accordion. So to go directly to your H1 heading, you just press the number 1 key. So 1.
Main landmark components heading level 1.
So now I'm on the heading level 1 and I can start accessing the website. So I'll be using the arrow keys to make sure that I don't miss anything. So I'll press the down arrow key.
Heading level 2 accordion.
So okay, I know I'm on a heading level 2 that says accordion. So that means the title of that section is called accordion. So I'll press the down arrow key again.
Heading level 3 button expanded accordion 1.
So it tells me heading level 3. Then it tells me it's a button expanded and the name is accordion 1. So that means this is something that expands and collapses. Accordions are things that expand and collapse. So that means that's giving me that understanding that, okay, there is a content that is below it. I'm on a button that controls the content below it, which can expand or collapse. And currently it is expanded. Let me go back and forward again so you hear it.
Heading level 2 accordion.
So I'll press the down arrow key to go back into the accordion.
Heading level 3 button expanded accordion 1.
So button expanded. So that means the button has expanded the content and the name of the button is accordion 1. So that gives me all of the information I need. So now that I know it's expanded, I can access the information. So I'll press the down arrow key again.
Accordion 1 region link equalize digital web accessibility law ipsum dollar sit amut. Inclusive design ensures equitable.
So okay, it starts to read me the content in the accordion. So I didn't miss any content basically because my up and down arrow keys were just giving me all of the content that I need. If I want to go to the next accordion item, then I can simply press the tab key. If there is an next accordion, I'll press the tab key.
Accordion 2 button collapsed heading level 3.
So that means I'm on this next accordion. If I press the down arrow key, let's see if we get access to the content that is hidden. So I'll press the down arrow key.
Heading level 3 button collapsed accordion 3.
Okay.
Heading level 2 carousel / slider.
So that means if there's content hidden, then I don't have access to that content, so which is the right thing. Whenever something is hidden visually, it should also be hidden to a screen reader user. If it is visible, then it should be announced to a screen reader user. So that's the idea. And yeah, so that means that works. We'll now test out with the other one, which is from Build Areas. They are using the detail summary tag. So let me go over to Build Areas. And let's see if I have the page open.
Pages Builder's accessibility.
It is called Components. So let's view the page.
Clickable main landmark table ordered by hierarchical menu order and tight banner landmark dd build demos.instalk.xyz visited link.
Same thing. I'll press the number 1.
Main landmark components heading level 1.
So I am on the components heading level 1. If I now press the down arrow key, so to start making sure that I don't miss any content after the heading level 1, I'll press the down arrow key. So press down.
Heading level 2 accordion.
So okay, I know I'm on heading level 2 accordion. So that is the section name is called accordion. Let's now see the content of that section. I'll press the down arrow key.
Button expanded heading level 3 accordion 1.
So it tells me button expanded heading level 3, accordion 1. So if you're using NVDA, this is specifically with NVDA, it announces the detailed summary tag basically like an accordion. There's no difference between how it announces an accordion with how it announces the detailed summary tag. So it tells me the heading level, which is number 3. There's a button that is expanded, and that means there is content that I can access. If I press the down arrow key now,
Link equalize digital web accessibility law ipsum dollar sit amat. Inclusive design ensures equitable.
see, so it reads the content for me. So that means it's the same thing. There is nothing missing because you can see it visually that the content that was read is the same as what I'm seeing visually. So there's no discrepancy between what is visually shown and what is being read. So that means that works. So now let me press the tab key to get to the second accordion.
Accordion 2 heading level 3 button collapsed.
Okay, so accordion 2 button level 3 collapsed, meaning that I should not be able to access that content. So if I press the down arrow key now, I should ideally move to whatever is the next item, not the hidden content in the accordion. So down arrow key.
Button collapsed heading level 3 accordion 3.
So it works. So button collapse, accordion 3, heading level 3, everything works. So now that means the accordions are working the same way. If I press the space bar or the enter key, that should activate whatever is hidden. So I press the space bar and it activates that accordion. If I now press the down arrow key,
Web accessibility law ipsum for WordPress sites emphasizes building experiences that work for.
okay, so it reads the content. So basically
Button collapsed heading level 3 accordion 3.
okay, so
Accordion 2 heading level 3 button collapsed.
if I press the space bar, that is now where the limitation comes in with detailed summary tag for now, is that with NVDA, it looks like it doesn't announce the expansion and collapse of the accordions. Whereas if I go back to the first example I had with the regular accordions,
Slider content accordion 3 accordion 2 button collapsed heading level 3.
it says accordion 2 button collapse heading level 2. If I press the space bar now,
Expanded.
it tells me expanded. So it gives me an auditory cue that it was expanded.
Go to slide 3 tabs.
So that is the difference. So that's one of the limitations of the detailed summary tag with NVDA specifically, that sometimes it doesn't announce the change of state from the collapse to expanded, whereas with the regular accordions, it does. But now let's get to the second limitation, which is the opposite now.
Exit
Let me exit
NVDA
NVDA.
dialog.
So now here comes the second limitation, which is the opposite. Why detailed summary tag is better than the regular accordion. So now imagine on my second accordion, now I'm using my mouse to navigate. On the second accordion, I have a text called accessibility checker. So imagine that on page load, it was the first accordion item that was visible. And let's say I'm trying to do a quick search on the page to find out where exactly it was mentioned, the accessibility checker. So I'll press the Control F to go to my find, and I start searching for the accessibility checker. Now you notice this is using the second example of the detailed summary tag. The moment it finds the accessibility checker, it basically opens that accordion item for me. That is, the details that is closed gets opened. Whereas if you're using the JavaScript method and I try to search for the same thing, accessibility checker, it is closed, Control F, and I search for accessibility checker, it tells me that there is basically no result in the accordion, only in the slider. So that means it cannot see what is hidden. But with the detailed summary tag, even when it is hidden, once you search for it, it will help you open that accordion item and then like expand it and take you to exactly where it is, so that you can not miss the information. So that's the difference. So that's why the detailed summary tag in a way is better than the regular JavaScript accordion. But in terms of like consistent announcement, the JavaScript method is better. So that is it for accordions. Those are the two limitations I've found with accordions that can be a bit challenging. Then the next one is with the tabs. So with the tabs, the way tabs work is that we have a list of links at the top, which is kind of like your, how you have in your heading section, there is a list of links like the navigation links. It is one component, and then the content that is displayed is another component. So it is basically separate. The links are separate from their content. With accordions, the link and the content are basically in order. So let's go back to the accordion. Whenever you have accordions, the link starts first, the accordion 1, and then the content follows. The button starts, and then the accordion content follows. The accordion button starts, and then the content follows sequentially. But with tabs, it's different. With tabs, there is a group of links, and then there is an associative tab panel that basically shows or hides depending on which accordion item is selected. So that now poses a problem, because the problem is a user, let's look at an example of the navigation. Whenever a user clicks on any navigation, typically their focus is moved to that page. So if you have a navigation at the top of your website and the user clicks on the navigation, it will typically take the user to that page. Same thing with the accordion. When you have an accordion, you click on the accordion, it expands the content, and the next step after the accordion is the content. So that's the logical idea that users expect. They expect that I've clicked a button, the next thing I want to do is access the content of that button. So that is my next logical step. However, due to how accordions are set up, the next logical aspect after the accordion button is another button. So that now creates confusion, which is why we have to do some kind of like changes to the structure of the accordion. So that way we change the tab order using tab index -1 to remove elements from the general tab focus and make sure that it's only using JavaScript that we can navigate the tab focus. So that now I'm going to work with keyboard only. So if I use the keyboard, I am currently on the first tab item. When I want to get access into the tab panel, then I can just press the tab key and it goes immediately to the active tab panel. It skips all of the other tab buttons because it will be stressful if I have to go through all the tab buttons before I get to the tab panel. So that's why we have to create a quick jump navigation from the tab title to the tab panel. But then this is all good. Now let's try and use it with a screen reader and see how a screen reader will interact with the tab panel and if they will have any potential of missing out any information. So I'll turn on my NVDA. So I'll press Ctrl Alt Enter N.
Pane. Components cadence. Google Chrome window. Lights. So end column components cadence. Google Chrome window.
Okay, so I'm components.
Skip to content same page link.
So I'll press the number 2 now because I think those headings are level 2. So I'll press level 2. That's number 2.
Main landmark accordion heading level 2.
So that is accordion heading level 2.
Carousel/slider heading level 2.
This is carousels. I don't need carousels. I'm trying to look for tabs. So I'll press the number 2 again.
Form heading level 2.
That's for forms. 2 again.
Icon list heading level 2.
No.
Loop/posts block heading level 2.
No.
Tabs heading level 2.
So now, yes, I know that I'm on the tabs heading level 2. So I am sure that I'm on the tabs, the section where the tabs are being tested. So I can now press the down arrow key to make sure I'm getting correct access. So I'll press down arrow key.
Tab selected, tab 1.
So now it tells me tab selected, tab 1. So that tab selected means that, okay, I am in the tabs control and I'm selecting the first tab. since I've set selected, so sometimes what I like to do is now that I know that I'm on the tab selected, I'll now press Shift Tab
List with 3 items. Read
and
more
then
your
Tab
bread.
key
Our
again.
process tab control. Tab 1 tab selected 1 of 3.
So that just gives me that, okay, before I first of all, when I press the down arrow key, it tells me that it's tab selected, tab 1 of 3. So, but because I was using arrow key navigation, that tends to navigate in the browse mode. But if you notice, when I press, let me press the Shift tab.
List with 3 items. Read more your bread. Our process baked to perfection every time link.
When I press the tab key now and it gets into the tab control, there will be a beeping sound to tell you that that my mode has switched. So if I press the tab key now,
tab control, tab 1 tab selected 1 of 3.
So it tells me tab control, tab 1 selected 1 of 3, and then it had a beeping sound to tell me that just gives me information that there has been a change in the mode, which means that now my screen reader has basically deactivated its keyboard, what's it called, the event listeners for the keyboard. And now if I'm navigating these tabs, I'm navigating it like a regular keyboard user, but it will still be announced to me normally, but all of my keyboard shortcuts will basically be disabled. The only keys that will work are keys that work normally for a keyboard user. So now if I press the left and right arrow keys,
tab 2 tab selected 2 of 3.
Okay, it tells me tab 2 tab selected 2 of 3,
tab 3 tab selected 3 of 3,
tab 3 tab selected 3 of 3. So
tab 2 tab selected 2 of 3.
So that means now the arrow keys now work as intended by whatever you placed in the JavaScript, because that beeping sound I've told basically informed me that I'm no longer the screen reader is no longer using any event listeners to interrupt your key pressing. So it's now telling you that, okay, whatever the component tells you to do, do it. So that's why you have to make sure that you set up your tabs control properly. Otherwise, someone using NVDA would have problems. People using other kind of screen readers like VoiceOver, it's slightly different, so it will not affect them. But NVDA specifically, it will affect you. So now here comes the challenge. I am on tab 2. If I press the up or down arrow key, because like I said, it is now using the regular keyboard functions, the up and down arrow key will basically perform regular keyboard functions. So if I want to reactivate it manually, I can press the insert and spacebar. That will reactivate all of the functions by basically taking me back into browse mode. But I don't want to do that. I want to follow based on because I know the screen reader expects that you have coded the tabs properly, so it will know when to switch back its mode. So now if I press the tab key, that should now take me into the tab panel and reactivate all of my keyboard functions for a screen reader. So if I press the tab key now,
tab 2 property page accessibility checker link.
Okay, so now I'm in the tab 2 page accessibility checker link. So now I'm in a page where I can use my keyboard shortcuts again. So if I press the up arrow key now,
tab 3,
it start working normally. As you can hear, it says tab
semantic heading link accessibility checker alt roll skip link Gutenberg focusable widget theme Dodgson aria hidden echo block quote navcom landmark div link color.
So it's now reading the content for me properly. But the moment I press the shift tab again to go back into the tab the list of tabs, it should give you that beeping sound again.
Accessibility check.
Let me press shift tab
control. Tab 2 tab selected 2 of 3.
So that beeping sound tells me that, okay, I've deactivated all of your keyboard, that all of our regular keyboard shortcuts. If I press regular keys like the number 1 key, number 2 key, the H key, any key that I normally use to do quick navigation will be deactivated at that point until I tab away from the tab list and I go into the tab panel, then everything gets reactivated. So I go to the tab panel now with the tab key.
Tab 2 property page accessibility checker link.
So it has now taken me into the tab panel. But the problem with this is that there is content before what was read to me. There was a bit of content called semantic heading, but what was read to me was accessibility checker. So that means whatever content was before that link that I got access to, I may have missed it. I wouldn't even know that it was there unless I remember to press the up arrow key to make sure that I read information before where my focus was. Otherwise, I will have lost all of that content. So if I now press the down arrow key from this point,
ARIA hidden. Operable law ARIA live input NVDA.
Where it continued was after the accessibility checker, the link spoke, and then it continued from ARIA hidden and continued from there. So the semantic heading that was the text before the link will be lost to me. I wouldn't even know that it was there because I don't expect something to be before the link, because the way it is that I'm on the tab item, the tab button. I want to get the next thing my focus should be is the tab panel so that I can start reading the tab panel. But you now send me to a link that is somewhere far away in the middle of the tab panel. Whatever is before that, I will miss it. So the ideal structure for tab panels is that the first element in the panel should be the link. So that, which is the first example we have.
Tab 1 of 3. Selected.
So the first example is the best example where we have tabs control, tab selected 1 of 3. And then the focusable element in the tab panel is the first element. So when I press the tab key now,
tab 1 property page equalize digital link.
So it tells me tab 1 property page. Then it reads the link to me, which is the first link in that page, in that tabs control, which is the equalize digital link. And I can now start pressing my arrow keys to read the rest of the content. So I can press the insert and then the down arrow key.
Link equalize digital accessible screen reader label or WordPress focus tab keyboard skip link robust plugin.
And
ARIA role widget operable ipsum navigation compliance theme perceivable. Contrast alt text toggle tab index YouTube contrast.
So and so on. So that is what I've been discussing recently. And let me go ahead and exit the tab. So I'll press exit NVDA now. Okay, so I can switch over my screen. And so yeah, that is the whole point that I've been speaking about recently. We've been having a back and forth in the WordPress accessibility Facebook group. My point of view is that we cannot guarantee that the first link in the tab panel will have a focusable element. So there is a high possibility that a screen reader user will miss the content that comes before whatever link is in the tab panel. And if there is no link in the tab panel, then that even worsens the situation, because a screen reader user will not even know that there was content in the tab panel, because they will have the tab. When they press from the list of tabs, when they press the tab key, it goes straight to whatever is the next content without telling you that there is something in the tab panel, and the screen reader user will miss all of that information. So that's why I've been doing that back and forth, but I don't know. I would have to do some more research to be sure of the best solution. But yeah, so that was just basically what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you all enjoyed it. And now time for some announcements. So if you're watching this now or sometime in September 2025, then we have the WP Accessibility Day coming up soon, and I'll leave a link to it in the comments and in the description. So please go ahead and register for that meetup, because that's where you get to see more people who are accessibility, who are in the accessibility space. It might be from experts to amateurs. Everybody is welcome. Whether you have full knowledge of accessibility, you have zero knowledge of accessibility, you will get to learn something that will help you out in your web design journey. So you are highly invited. The link is in the description. Basically, it is, let me go ahead and switch my screen so that we can easily see it. So it's just 2025.wpaccessibility.day/. And then we have attendee-registration, and it will take you to the place to register. Oh, hi, Jimmy. Thank you for joining in. We are just about to wrap up because I believe there's going to be another live stream happening quite soon, talking about with, I think, Kevin Geary and with Amber Hines. They'll be talking about web accessibility. So let me see if I can even find it and put it in the chat. So how are you doing? This channel is just going to be all about me talking about accessibility.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to...
And just basically, so I believe that's the name of the upcoming event. I'll just put it in the chat for anybody who wants to watch it. So yeah, web accessibility is a fun topic. It's quite interesting how you can see. One thing that just gets me about web accessibility that you can have five different people, experts or maybe people living with disabilities or anything like that, and you ask them about a design or about like a problem. All five of them will give you completely like differing opinions of the same thing. That's the interesting idea. Like, for example, you can put a color on your website and say maybe an orange color or a yellow color. One person will be able to see that color well and tell you, oh, that's the best color. Somebody else will tell you that they are struggling to see the color. So our goal our job as web designers is to try to encompass the most number of people. We can't really get everybody, but at least our job is to make sure that we can like reach out to the most number of people with our website. So any little thing you can do goes a long way. Don't think that what you're doing is too small. Just even changing your colors to have better contrast is going a long way. Putting the landmark regions, header landmark, the main landmark, the footer landmark, and all of those landmark regions is going a long way. It may not help everybody. In fact, it may just help like 1% of people visiting your site, but that 1% is going a long way to helping you. Same thing with other ones. So everything that you have like that is just keep going on doing your little bit. You might not like change the world, but at least you're changing things one step at a time. You are just improving it one bit at a time, and that one bit at a time is basically helping lots of people out there. So yeah, if you have any questions, any comments, I'll be doing this every week. So just talking about one thing in accessibility that I find interesting, we'll just come over here and we'll talk about it. The next one I believe next week, what I'll be doing is testing out a plugin that says they have an accessible backend. The plugin is, I'll leave a link to the plugin's description in the comments and the description of this YouTube video. I'll just go ahead and test out their plugin and see what are the accessibility improvements that they said they've added to that plugin, and we'll go on from there. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody who joined in today. I think I had a few viewers, but yeah, thank you all for joining in today, and I'll see you next week.